guys. I had my laptop stolen not too long ago, and in my laptop I had an SD card with, I think, 2 fruit videos that are now lost to time. Okay, so one of the things that I reviewed was this fruit. I'm gonna say the name wrong, like I say everything wrong, but is a tejocote, also known as Mexican Hawthorn. Now, the thing with this, it took a lot of time. I made something out of it, I reviewed it, I talked about it at length and everything like that. And I found these in my neighborhood in New York City. I live in a neighborhood where there's a large South American population and Mexican population, and I believe that what happens is that there are what we call in the business fruit laggers who will take a truck, fill it with fruit, bring it across the border illegally, and then sell it. And there's certain fruits that are like a high value item, and this is one of them. So I read online that this is probably the #1 most commonly fruit-legged fruits, which is why I found them everywhere in New York City in my neighborhood. Never anywhere else, but in my neighborhood they were very easy to find. So the reason why they're so commonly fruit-legged is because these are used in a lot of celebrations. So people who want to celebrate Day of the Dead, these are used as like an ornamental thing. It's used to make ponche, which is like a seasonal drink that's basically like a mulled cider, but instead of using apples, they use Mexican hawthorn and guava and different spices and stuff like that. So because of the uses that this has, it's smuggled a lot. So I was thinking of waiting until I got back to the US to review this again, just so I would have more time and be able to properly cook it. But I think it makes sense to do it now for 2 reasons. One, I'm not sure if these are actually legal in the US at all, and the chances of me finding them again, maybe it's not going to happen again. Maybe I think that's a little suspect, people bringing it across the border. I don't want to be mixed up with that too much, and I don't want to risk the chance of this not showing up again if they tighten security. So there's that, and also I'm in Mexico. The flavor of this is interesting. It tastes like regular hawthorn that I've had in the past, which is a little bit like a bland apple, a little bit like jujube, like a fresh jujube, but it also has this interesting taste in it that's kind of like guava, or more specifically feijoa, which is a very difficult to explain kind of flavor. I guess similar to guava, but it's got some extra kind of taste to it. A little bit like Hawaiian punch. Quite good. One thing with these is they oxidize very quickly, so you could already see it's turning brown. So when you use these, you gotta have to be quick if you're gonna be cutting them open, because they turn brown pretty quickly. So what I'm going to do with this is not make ponche, because I think that would be too complicated. I think it'll add too many flavors to this, guava and spices and all that. I think will take me further away from the flavor of this. And this is what I want to focus on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to candy these in something that's called Dulce de tejocote. Sorry for saying it wrong. Okay, let's not waste any time. I have these. I separated out the bad ones and was left with not a whole lot, maybe just 2 cups or so right here. And I washed them, I scrubbed them, and I removed the stems. I also put a pot of water to boil, and I'm going to dump these in here. This is just to remove the skin. So if you put these in water for a little bit and let them cook slightly, then the skins are a lot easier to remove. Basically, they just kind of soften up a little bit. It's like the skin separates from the flesh on the inside a little bit, almost let me do this without killing myself. don't do this at home. But you probably see how it like gives like that. It's like the skin's separated now. It's like a little water balloon with the pulp inside. So that's how you know it's ready. I'm at an Airbnb, by the way, so like everything that I'm doing, I'm just like using like what they happen to have here. And if you Airbnb your apartment, you should know that there is a good chance that the person that you rent out to is going to be doing this. These are cool now. I wanted to make sure I'm not going to like burn the hell out of my fingers, so I let them cool for a little bit. And you can see like the skin now comes off like super easily. Very easy to do. So I'm just gonna like peel the skins off like that. You know, like in the time that you boil the water, let these sit for 5 minutes and like another 5 minutes to cool, you would have had peeled 2 of these by hand if they were raw. So definitely worth the trouble of letting them boil for a minute first. So we're done. I peeled them all, I put them in here, and I put water in there. You know, if this pan wasn't so wide, I would have put enough water just to cover them, but because it's the fruit don't entirely fill up the entire bottom of this pan, I put a little bit less than that. Well, the only thing I'm going to add is I'm going to add some cinnamon. This much. And I'm also going to use one of these mofos right here. This is brown sugar, but special Mexican brown sugar. If you have like a Latin food market, you might be able to find one of these. Otherwise, I think you could just use regular brown sugar and it's fine. But I'm going to put that in there and like just kind of like mix this up a little bit so it melts. And basically it's going to eventually turn into like a thick syrup. Might take a while though. This smells amazing right now. Like it just smells like Christmas. There's just like apples and cinnamon and sugar and spices. It just smells like very, very aromatic. So I'm excited to try this. Now that it's kind of like boiled down quite a bit, you know, it's still like relatively liquidy, but this is going to thicken up a little bit as it cools. Isn't that lovely? Yeah, this came out really good. These things, like, they smell amazing, they look amazing. Hopefully they taste good. They're still full of tiny seeds. So those are a little annoying. But the flavor of this is really good. It's like, it tastes like baked apples, like the inside of like a nice like apple pie. That cinnamon taste like really does add a lot to it. I mean, it's the only spice I added to this is like a little cinnamon. It makes it a little bit more like wintry, you know, like mulling spices and stuff like that. But the flavor of the fruit is good. It tastes more like apples and less like guava when you do this. But it still does have a little bit of that little guava, feijoa kind of taste in there, which is really good. It's better than just like straight up, you know, like baked apples. It's got like that little extra kind of like tropical taste to it, which is very, very good. It works really well with these fruits. It's not the most convenient thing to eat, just because they're full of seeds, and just because it does take a lot of preparation. I mean, it's not quick. You need to take these, to boil them, to peel them, to put it back in. You have to melt sugar in it. You have to like let it cool and do like all of that. So it's going to take you like an hour or two to make this thing. But when you do, really good, and definitely something that I can see like having out for like a dessert or something, especially if like you're doing like Thanksgiving or like Christmas dinner or something. This would be a good, you know, dessert, or maybe like even use it as like a topping, like put it on top of like pie or put it on top of ice cream. Like that would be really good. And like the syrup that just kind of like comes off of this stuff is pretty tasty. So I'm actually going to take some of this and put that in my tea that I'm drinking right now. So anyway, yeah, this thing is great, and you know, I kind of hope that they do show up in New York City again, because I will buy these again and I will make this and you know bring it to a Christmas party or something. So yeah, other than that, guys, I will see you next time. Hey, so at the end of this video, there's going to be a preview of next week's fruit, so stay tuned for that. But first, business! I want to give a shout out to all of my Patreon supporters. Patreon is how this channel happens. So if you want to help me out by giving completely voluntary contribution to my channel, check out the link that's around me right now or in the description below. Big shout out to the channel Smarter Every Day. They help me out a lot on Patreon, so if you haven't heard of them, check them out. I also have t-shirts for sale. These are available on my website, which are also in the link below. If you don't want to give me money, subscribe, click the bell, like, comment, any of that stuff. Alright, thanks so much, guys. Bye.